Hello and welcome to another SH Figuarts review. This is a Bandai Premium exclusive. I ordered this directly from the Hong Kong Bandai Premium website. So it came in this cardboard box and because it has shipping stuff stuck all over the back of it, because these are actually shipping boxes, and if you order more of these then they'll put these in a bigger box and then you can keep these as a collectible, I guess. Here's the thing though, these delivery people, the two cat logo, I always ask for delivery to be at from 6 to 9. In fact, the 6 to 9 thing is highlighted there, and it even has the 6 to 9 thing stuck on there. And on top here also says, before you deliver, please call the reception, me, so my home, my phone number, and please do not give this to the porter or security staff. So it has to be delivered directly. After all the stuff that I've ordered from them, not a single time have they called me to inform me that they're delivering it, to confirm that I'm at home. And they've never actually once came here from 6 to 9. In fact, I got this at 4 PM. Good thing we have people at home. But I tried to make it at a later time because I have a full-time job. I'm going to be at the office all day. I just want to make sure that at least one person's at home. I mean, I've always, for the most time I have people at home, but come on, if I say 6 to 9, you deliver my damn crap at 6 to 9, because that's what your service promised. If you can't deliver 6 to 9, then don't promise 6 to 9. So, well done, you guys. But anyway, Gatack. Now, he is looking this way, and because Kabuto's box is looking the other way, so I put these two boxes together and they match. And I have no doubt that if you have other secondary characters that come out. So far we've seen demo or displays of DN as a secondary rider, and this redone real bones version of SH Figuarts. I have no doubt that the boxes will also be facing this direction, as for the box art. And yeah, this is a pretty good box art as always. All of these have looked pretty good with all the filtering effect. Looks very classy. You got the Kamen Gatack, Mass Rider Gatack there, and shiny text, and as you figure out, logo on the top there, and of course at the back of the box you got information on the figure itself, stuff you get inside, or yada yada yada. And yeah, pretty good. So time to open this box up. And of course with especially premium stuff, and first of all, premium stuff, you're not going to see what you're getting until you get it, because it's an online order. Second of all, with these real bone packages, there's no window on any of these boxes, so even for general releases you get in the shop, they only replace it if they're missing parts or things that are directly broken, like snapped off or something. Shops do not replace these or give you a new one if there's printing or painting issues, for example, or joints that are a little bit too tight, a little bit too loose. So you really don't know what you're going to get inside. And I'm mentioning this right now because so you got the first tray there with the main rider. The top comes off very easily, just like the previous ones. And bottom there you have the accessories tray, which again, the plastic comes off easily. Do that on screen. Yeah. Do be careful though, because you do have a sector in there. Doing one arm is a little bit harder than what it should be. And because since this is a Hong Kong release, you have a Hong Kong survey card, and of course the instruction manual. If you do want to take a closer look at the instruction manual, box art, and photo shoots of the figure, please feel free to head over to the Flickr link or Facebook link in the video description below. So apart from the fists already on the figure, he has 3 extra pairs of hands. He has a relaxed hand on each side, and then you see they're painted on the inside as well, which is pretty cool, and gold there and a bit of silver on the thumbs. And he has 2 pairs of different sword holding hands, and the difference between these is that they have the hinge on a different angle. So for example, this one moves up and down, whereas this one lets the arms move sideways. This is, I can only guess that the purpose of this is for him to do different poses with his swords right here. No more attacks, for example, as well as him holding him in the scissors position for his different attacks. Speaking of scissor position, so I'm going to look at these. So yeah, these swords here do look pretty good. Got the his sect logo printed on there, so a tiny little silver print there. And same on the other side as well, very detailed, and you can see that there is a hole there, and this one has a little bump there as well. So because you can put these two together, you got this whole scissor attack thing going on. Moves pretty well. And because you have the extra sector here, which is in a closed form, of course you do not have the cast-on form of him. There was a picture at the service where they're doing the Kabuto cast-on, put-on figure, but that's a long way away from coming out. So this sector here is not for putting on, but instead is for him to do his rider kick. When he pushes the 3 buttons, he closes the horn, and he does the charge up thing, and then opens the horn again for the rider kick. Now, one thing, these hands are identical to the Kabuto figure. In fact, because for the most part, the base figure, the legs, everything under the legs, for example, and the arms are very similar to the Kabuto figure, so they just use the same parts, which is fine, because the same suit, same parts. But a lot of people online don't like these figures because you can see the joint pin showing through the side arms, the little hole there, so that doesn't look very good. For stuff like SH Figuarts, visible joints are not a good thing. You know, with you've got the hinges and connectors showing up, that's not good. I mean, yeah, you see the joints, but they don't pop out. You don't see the holes. You don't see for the most part. Like here, you don't want to see the hole coming through, especially when it cuts through the design of the suit and the print and the paint there, which is something that, especially with these improved figures, is something that you don't really want to see happen. Speaking of improved figure, well, this figure does look a lot better than the original Gatack that I can see online. I never had any of the original Kabuto or Gatack figures, so I can't really compare them. I'm just judging from online photos, and this new one looks so much better. Now, earlier in this video, I was mentioning about quality issues and quality control. Online, I've seen a lot of people complaining about the paint issues, and I've seen people with huge hair marks on the chest. I saw someone where one of the legs is slightly longer than the others, and lots of people are also having paint marks that are sort of out of line and not painted correctly, that just coming out of the edges. And I'm quite lucky to not have any of that, so that's good there. No bad print on mine. I do have a few bits where the silver, for example, wasn't sprayed on correctly. For example, here I have a little sad area there with the silver coming off the edge. I can easily fix that with just removing the paint a little bit. So overall, I am quite lucky. But compared to other people online, I swear if I open this box and there's a huge scratch mark or a huge bad paint mark, I'm gonna get really annoyed. And also someone online posted a picture demonstrating different things that you have to be aware of. For example, these shoulder pads. Now, yeah, it does look a little bit goofy with these two things sticking out, so that's a little bit annoying, but it's okay, I guess. Yeah, these pegs there, they are attached to the shoulder pad and not the arm. And the shoulder pad, like some of the other figures in this line, are attached on a little ball peg, which means it is a fragile joint. Now this one does okay. This one, you just plugs into that hole there. Plugs in very smoothly, very easily. This one, not so much. If I'm here to plug it in, it doesn't quite go in. It's a bit tight. It doesn't want to go if I just push it. So what you got to do is you got to do this. You got to do the rotating function and sort of slide it in. See, hear that? It's quite tight. And notice that I'm holding the shoulder pad. You do not want to break the joint underneath there. It is a small joint and it can be fragile. So do be really careful when you're putting this on there. Do hold on to the shoulder pad and move it in. If you want to remove it, do the same. Hold on to the shoulder pad, not the shoulder. And try to get that out. So that's something. So you know, and of course you don't have to push it all the way, and just have it on the surface a little bit, so it makes it easier to pull out in and out. So in terms of articulation, we'll zoom out a little bit. So yeah, double neck joint, of course, but due to the shape of his armor, it is a little bit blocked. So you know, just be aware when you're moving the head back, it's gonna get stuck on there. So move his head a little bit forward to move it down. He can't really look up. You're going to have to move the body up for him to look up properly, but he can look down quite a bit. Horns are quite thick here, so not going to be too careful or to worry too much, but very hard plastic there. Full rotation, and he can look sideways just a little bit and sideways just a little bit. Really limited articulation, so that's a shame. Double, like a socket joint for the arms. So rotation there, up, down, full rotation here. And got the shoulder pads on the double, like a hinge on a little ball joint. double elbow joints, because the hand is on a peg with these little swiveling joints, which I really much rather have little ball pegs and double swivel joints. That'll be much better than what we have here. These plates here, they do move up just a little bit, so just to help articulation, but you can look down quite a bit, you can look up quite a bit, sideways, so the hip articulation is pretty good. Moves very smoothly. Again, someone online said that their figure had the sound when they're moving the torsos. That's really, really tight. Not me, mine's quite lucky again. So, and full rotation here. You can see the belt flows up and down, and it's sort of a soft and rubbery figure, rubbery belt, and that's really good. It means I can decade this guy up and swap the belts if I really want to. Leg goes up, leg goes back, leg goes sideways. Gap in the joint there is quite visible. That's a little bit annoying. Full rotation here, I think. Let's see. Yep, full rotation here. Double knee joint. Again, do be careful because these. The elbow pad and the knee pad, these aren't glued on, so they can come off. This one's actually fallen off quite a few times while I was messing around with the figure. And leg goes up, leg goes back, leg goes sideways, and toe goes up 90 degrees, and here's the bottom of the shoes. Because since this is the same bottom part as Kabuto, you can definitely do the Kabuto kick with this guy. Even though he doesn't do it, you can pose him that way if you want to, because it is the same legs. So I'm just trying. I have managed to get him standing while doing somewhat of a kick. So let's see if I can do that now. I'm going to do that quite quickly and easily. Oh, no. Almost. No. Haha! Look, see, look, it's all good and stuff. He's standing. Good. Kamen Rider Gatack renewal version is definitely a lot better compared to the original SH Figuarts release. I have seen pictures online and the comparisons are very, very big, much like Kabuto versus the original figure. The original figure still looks fun to play around with, and it's more of a toy action figure, whereas this one, just like the Kabuto figure, the joints are a little bit tighter and a little bit, this figure is also a little bit more fragile compared to the original SH Figuarts because it's got more details going on and more smaller parts going on. So you do have to be a little bit more careful of this, but hey, if you want the details, more details on the figure, that's what you get. So there you go. It's a fair enough trade-off, but for the most part this figure still feels secure enough and strong enough. I don't feel like I'm breaking it. So yeah, and of course the paint job and the molding here is pretty much, for me, it's pretty much spot on. The colors are right, and for the most part I've got a figure where the paint doesn't go across the edges, whereas a lot of people online unfortunately have had this issue, and for the most part it almost feels like that the quality control of this renewal line has gone downhill since the first releases, Kabuto and Hibiki. And personally, I did have an issue with Hibiki where the inside the upper leg joint, a bit of paint scratch off because the leg was kind of stuck during transport, and you know, been sitting there for a while. The paint kind of stuck to the lower leg, so I've got a little bit of a scratch on that figure. But apart from that, I haven't really noticed anyone complaining about the quality issues, the quality control, whereas this figure, there's quite a lot of people complaining, so that's a little bit annoying and a little bit worrisome, especially when you can't tell what's inside the box until you've bought it and opened it, and most sellers will not trade you a good figure for it because they themselves can't get a replacement, because Bandai will not give them a replacement unless there's a missing or broken part. And for a figure that's cost this much, this is a pretty expensive figure, especially it's a premium Bandai exclusive, meaning that it's going to cost even more now on the secondary market. For an expensive figure, it's quite a hard pill to swallow when you're going to be worrying about quality control, and that's just no good. As nice as this figure is, it's hard to recommend it when I'm going to say that that money you put down might be for a figure that has a really bad paint job if you're really unlucky. Still, if you think this figure is worth going for, definitely check it out. It is a good figure when you get one that's like mine, lucky enough to be completely decent and without any issues. So I'll recommend it for that if you're a big Kabuto fan and you just have to have a figure that looks much more to the part of the actual show's suit. And in terms of accessory count, it does feel like there's enough for this figure. And finally, for the price. In terms of accessory count, this figure has done a pretty decent job. I can't realistically see a way how they could get the sector to move like the Kabuto one, because the Kabuto one is just moving the horn, whereas this one, the horns kind of go into the body. So if you put a hinge there, you probably have a little sector that's a bit too fragile to mess around with. It will break far too easily. So having a swapping sector is a good enough alternative. And for the price this figure is going for, it's still, even if you get one that's completely fine, it's still a little bit hard to swallow, because if you remember, quite a lot of this figure is just parts from the Kabuto figure. It's just remolding. They're not designing new parts. Half of the figure is old, half of the figure is new. So you think in that sense that part of it can reduce the cost of this figure, and yet its cost is exact same as Kabuto. So you know they're making more money per figure here than they are with the Kabuto figure, because they already have the parts ready. They're just reusing it. The legs and the arms, they're all the exact same parts as the Kabuto figure. So bit cheeky there, Bandai. This figure really should have been a little bit cheaper than the Kabuto figure, because again, you're using the same parts. What I will say is that the accessories are a little bit bigger because he's got two big swords, whereas Kabuto only had a little dagger. But that's, yeah, this figure really should have been cheaper. Plus, if you're going to think about the postage fees, that's another price adding on top of the selling price. Overall, this is a good enough figure, pretty good figure overall. Overall, this is a pretty good figure, and I would recommend it for. Overall, this is a pretty good figure. I would recommend it to Kabuto fans. But the rest of you out there, with this pretty high price point, plus postage, plus middleman fees, and secondary market fees, I can't really recommend it to anyone else who's only a casual Kabuto fan, not really a fan of Kabuto, but just a fan of Kamen in general. So maybe think twice before you decide to pick this up, because you might get a figure with really bad scratch and paint marks.